Hello, everybody. My name is Enrique Landeros. You can call me Enrique or you can call me Landeros. I work for the AV room. I'm also a student at BCC. But yeah, I work for the AV room, and I will be explaining to you very briefly what the checkout process, the equipment checkout process, might be like. I really wanted to be there today with you, but Fridays is a little complicated for me to come to class. Um, the process can be a little bit complex, but I hope this video helps you understand what the process is like. Um, the first thing you need to do is fill out your contract. It's actually available in one of your modules on Canvas. Find the contract, fill it out, sign it, and make sure you attach your student ID. Something that students ask me very often is, well, the school is not giving out student IDs. That's totally fine. If you don't have a student ID, you can attach any form of ID, call it California ID, driver's license, passport, and go to, I think it's called admissions, or it used to be called Peralta Passport, but it's basically where you sign in to add classes. Go there and then find your class schedule, and then do a quick screenshot of your schedule, and then attach it if you don't have your student ID. Basically, what we want to make sure is that we have your ID, that your any form of picture ID, and your student number attached to it. That's the first part. Once you have filled those out, you're gonna email them to the AV room. I think it's available also in the modules, but I'm gonna say it one more time. Our email address is bcc-avroom@peralta.edu. Again, bcc-avroom@peralta.edu. Today, I think we're not meeting until next Friday, that we're actually meeting in person to give you out the equipment. So it's very, very, very important that you send me your contract as soon as possible. Normally, if I was in class with you today, I would actually take the time to have it done during class time, but I'm not there with you. So hopefully, as soon as class is over, or if you're watching this before your break, get it done during your break or when class is over. Um, After you email me that, I will email back a confirmation that we received your contract, and you should all be set. Um, if for some reason you're not coming to class next week, I will send me an email with your contract. Send me an email as well, and let me know that you won't be there for the first class, but that you are interested in checking out the equipment, and we will find out an alternate date. Um, just keeping in mind, we're usually only available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. What else? Okay, so that's the first part. Once you have sent me your contract, you're going back into the modules, and then there should be, if you click on quizzes, I think the last quiz available, it's called safety test, or second to last. It's called safety test written part. Basically, in order to be able to use the equipment at BCC, you have to pass two different tests, and they are both related to safety. So one is the safety test, which is the written part, and the second test is the hands-on safety test. And the written part you have to finish before you have your hands on with the equipment. So if we are picking up equipment on Friday during class time, you have to have taken your test by then. And I think it's a very easy test. I think it's a total of 32 questions. 32 questions. And if I was in class with you, I would go over these questions one by one with all of you, but unfortunately, I'm not there. Um, This is a little awkward because I'm talking to a camera, but yeah, I'm gonna cover all the questions right now. And basically, I just want to make sure you guys understand basic safety before you even grab the equipment. Um, and like the worst case scenario, if something goes wrong when you have the equipment, the worst thing that can happen is for you to hurt yourself or for somebody to get hurt, and we don't want that. As well as the equipment, we want to make sure the equipment doesn't get damaged. But more importantly, your safety comes first. Um, so yeah, that's basically the reason why we do the safety test. And again, the questions are very explanatory, but they are there for a reason, and we just want to make sure you guys understand. So I'll go ahead and start. If you guys want to, I think you're watching this video during class time. I'll give you a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds, for you to pull out the safety test, and you can actually answer it while I'm playing while playing this video. So as soon as you answer, just hit submit and send it over. So I'll just wait a little bit longer. Again, if you're in class, go to Canvas and then go to quizzes and find the safety test written part. And maybe not to make things awkward, Berwin can hit pause on the video, and once everybody's ready, I'll start answering the questions. So I'll start now. Okay, so question number 1. What do you wait to hear before passing another person equipment and letting go? You wait when you're, let's say you have a camera in your hands and you're giving the camera to another person. You will not let go of the camera until the other person says, got it. Same for any type of equipment. If you're letting go of something, you don't let go until somebody says, got it. When is it okay to let a non-VCC person use or handle VCC equipment? Never. And that's because many non-students haven't taken this safety test. And again, keep safety in mind. We don't want you or anybody else to get hurt. Can you point the lens directly at the sun? No, you can't. You may, I think it's related to the optics, but basically if the sunlight hits the lens, you know what happens when you, with like a magnifying glass and the sun goes through. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but please don't do that. Are you allowed to bring VCC equipment to the beach? No, you're not allowed to bring VCC equipment to the beach. If it's part of your final project, find an alternative. I'm pretty sure you can use your iPhones instead of camera or sound equipment. But yeah, the reason is so many things can go wrong when you're shooting at the beach. So you're not allowed to bring VCC equipment to the beach. Are you allowed to use VCC equipment in the rain? No, you can't, and just don't. Can any of the VCC equipment be exposed to salt water? And the answer is no. Can you leave VCC equipment in the car unattended when you are parked or loading or offloading? And the answer is no. If you have equipment in your car, make sure somebody is there with you. Somebody stays in the car with the equipment, or if it's not a lot of equipment, bring everything with you. Never leave unattended, even if you lock the car. Especially in the Bay Area, film crews get targeted, and so if somebody sees you with a camera, they might follow you around. They can break your car, and I've heard this several times already. So please be careful. Can you leave VCC equipment unattended on the street? Of course you can't. You don't want anything to be stolen. Can you leave VCC equipment in the heat? No, you may not. Usually, if you're driving in your car and it's a really hot day, make sure you put something over the equipment so the sunlight doesn't hit directly. Call it the camera, the sound equipment. Yeah, you don't want anything to be exposed to the heat. Are you allowed to clean a lens on a VCC camera? The answer is not is no, and that's just because event down in the semesters to come, I think there's a cinematography class where we actually learn how to properly clean a lens. It's really easy to scratch the lenses; they're very sensitive, so please don't do it. If something is wrong with the lens, you have to reach out to the AV room at the email I mentioned earlier. You can reach out to Natalie, you can reach out to Berwin, you can reach out to any of your TAs and let us know that your lens looks dirty, and we'll find a way to replace it or help you clean it. Okay. Explain the difference between manual and autofocus modes. Um, Basically, your DSLR's cameras will have a functionality on the side of the lens where you can shoot on autofocus, and it will basically read the image and pull focus automatically. So it will physically turn around, spin until it finds focus, and it will do it automatically. On manual, you turn off that feature and you will use your hands to pull focus on whatever you need. Um, the next question is related to that. How can you damage the autofocus mode? Let's say you have it on autofocus, so the gears will spin, and then you go in with your hands and you try to to change the focus. You might break the gears inside of it. So I think specifically for this class, we always try to work with manual focus instead of auto. So make sure you get familiar with it. Make sure you always turn it off when you're about to shoot. What do you believe the mirror or sense if the mirror or sensor has dust or dirt on it, same as the lens? Don't try to remove the lens and clean the sensor. Let us know if you think something's wrong with the camera. Let us know. Contact us at bcc-avroom@peralta.edu. And let's see, how do you format an SD card? Question 14. You will go through the camera settings, and there's a menu where you can actually format your SD card. And it is important that you format your SD card first because you have you have more storage. And second, because you want the settings to be correct with the camera. So usually before we go shooting, we always format the SD card, especially when you're working with a BCC camera, because sometimes students forget to delete their footage, and sometimes we don't realize there's already footage on your SD card, and it can be pretty harmful. When can you update the camera's firmware? The answer is never. Question 15. When can you install third-party software on the camera? The answer is never. We don't do any type of software adjustments. I don't think you will ever be in need of installing any type of software in the camera. But again, if for some reason the situation happens, reach out to us. We'll tell you what to do. Okay. This one's fun. How do you remember on what direction to tighten most of the knobs? We're talking about tripod, C-stand, light stands. Always it goes righty tighty, lefty loosey. Again, righty tighty, lefty loosey. What does finger tight mean? It means that you only use the strength of your fingers, don't use the whole strength of your hand or your full arm. You just need to make it tight enough to adjust it with your fingers and loosen it with your fingers. What do you have to do with the pan and tilt knobs of the tripod before any movement? You have to loosen them. So let's say you have your tripod set up with the camera on it. Before you go and pan across or tilt up and down, you have to make sure the knobs are loosened. Otherwise, you might strip the knobs. Hmm. What should your hand always be on when you're panning and tilting? Um, I'll read this again. I got confused. What should your hand always be on when pan and tilt are unlocked in the tripod? Okay. So let's say you loosen the you're about to shoot something vertically, so you loosen the tilt. Um, Make sure your hand is always on the handle or the operating stick. That way, in case I don't know, sometimes the camera gets really heavy, especially if you have like a very advanced lens. Um, and with the weight, it can just tilt forward and then maybe even knock over the tripod. Like it can fall forward. So make sure your hand always is always holding the operating stick. Okay. Before you walk away from the camera, what do? You have to make it safe. What does that mean? Before you're walking away from your camera on the tripod, make sure the knobs are tightened. If you're gonna be away for longer than, I don't know, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, it's even safer to remove the camera with the plate and put it in a safe surface. Find the table, um, yeah, but always make it safe. Question 22. How should the batteries be stored for travel? You remove them from the camera, you remove the batteries from the zoom recorder, and there should be a separate pouch where you're able to store them. The reason why is because we don't want any loose items kind of like rattling against the lens or rattling against any type of equipment. Hmm, let's see. How should media be stored for travel if it's not inside the camera? If it's not already inside the camera, if you didn't receive the media card inside the camera or inside the zoom recorder, again, find a separate container within the same case. Um, let's see. Question 24. How much can you tighten the knobs without breaking them? We covered this earlier today. Finger tight. Again, not hand tight, not arm tight, just a little bit, just enough for you to tighten it with your fingers, loosening it with your fingers. Question 25. How should you set the tripod, pen and tilt knobs when you are packing away the tripod and are not using it? You have to sorry. Okay, so this is very important because when you are returning when you're finished recording and you're putting back the tripod in the case, you have to make sure you loosen all the knobs. Basically, let's call this the tripod, and this is the head of the tripod. If things are tight, and I don't know, while carrying the tripod, things may get knocked around, knocked over. If for some reason this whole piece moves around, it might actually break. So, but if it's loose, nothing happens, right? So before you put your tripod away back in the case, make sure all the knobs are loose. We're talking about pan, tilt, and the arm. Oh, and the head. Yes. Um, Question 26. How do you properly stabilize a light stand? The answer is using a sandbag. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna cover this in person when we meet for the lighting class. But basically, you find the longest leg and then you put a sandbag above it. But we'll cover more of that in person. When you're about to turn off a light on set, you have to say saving. Let's say, yeah, if everybody's recording or I don't know, if you're on set and somebody's about to turn down a light, you have to let everybody know that you're turning off the lights. So you say saving. When you're about to turn on a light, that's also very important that you let them know that you're about to shine a very powerful light. Maybe you have to say striking because you never know. the light beam might be in somebody's face and you might flash them off. Um, for the next question, where should your hand be when you turn on a light if its wattage is 2K or under? The answer is in front of the light beam. So let's say this is your light, you're about to turn it on, you block the light beam with your hand right before turning it on, and then you say striking to let everybody know that you're about to turn it on. You turn on the light, and the light beam is you're blocking the light, just in case it's in front of somebody's face. Um, and 30, we're almost done. What do you check before plugging in a light? You have to make sure that the switch isn't accidentally turned on. This happens a lot. It happened to me a lot of times. Make sure some lights have like a power switch right next to like the cable that connects to the light. Make sure it's off before you give power to a light, because again, it might be in front of somebody's face and you might blind them, maybe. I don't know. These things get dangerous. Now, who do you contact if there are any questions regarding equipment checked out, scheduling, and returns? Um, you contact the BCC AV room. Um, we provided the email address several times, bcc-avroom@peralta.edu. Again, bcc-avroom@peralta.edu. If you have any questions, if you want to set up a drop-off, if you, I don't know, if you need additional equipment, we might be able to figure something out, but please reach out to us. And the last question is, we're specifying exactly what's on the kit you will be getting. If there's any equipment you do not need, please let us know so we can prepare your kit. But yeah, I think that's about it for the written part. So I know this is very long. I wish I had been there, but again, the first thing you need to do is fill out your contract, attach your student ID or some sort of ID with your student ID number, and do your safety test. And you probably already did it because I just gave you the answers, so it shouldn't be any hard. The next thing is we will meet you in person. You already probably filled out your contract, so we will be able to give you the equipment. I know there's usually a lot of questions regarding equipment, so I will make myself available for the rest of the week if there's any questions regarding I don't know, equipment pickup. If you have any issues with getting the equipment from the school to your house, I don't know. If there's any questions, please reach out to me by email. And I think that's about it. Oh, I forgot to cover the next part. We also have an in-person safety test, which, well, I think for this semester it will be online. But basically, I will be sharing in the weeks to come. I will be sharing my LRC hours availability, and you have, in order for you to be able to officially use the equipment that you have with you, you also have to pass a hands-on safety test. And there's a few videos on the module that explain how to use each one of them. So please go ahead and watch those videos, and in the weeks to come I will be starting to schedule the safety test. But for now, I think that's about it. I'm sorry this was very boring and very, very long. It's really hard to speak in front of a camera. But yeah, I look forward to meeting you next Friday. Thank you so much.